Over the past few months, Illustrative Math has been really working diligently on creating some resources to support teachers, students, and administrators in the use of Illustrative Math in this distance situation, and then to also deal with the learning loss that may have happened at the end of last year, to provide resources that will help you deal with the on-grade level curriculum and yet at the same time support students that are missing ideas from the previous years. And what we'd like to do in the next few minutes is give you just a look at the resources they've created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to the community hub that's been created to house all of these resources. Now, as a teacher, two things to note. To get to the community hub, you could go directly there. The other thing is the first time you go there as a teacher, you will have to register. So there's no cost to this. Just sign up, send your email. They just want to make sure you're a teacher. And then what will happen is they'll send you a link, and then you can create a username and password. Now, from the McGraw-Hill side, we're leaving these resources in the IAM Community Hub because they're updating them on an ongoing basis, and we want you to have access to them as soon as they're available. So I do want to mention one thing before we go in and look at the resources. If you were in the McGraw-Hill platform for IM, on your home page, we're going to add a link to the Community Hub in two different places. Number one, in the next couple of weeks, today is August 19th, in the next couple of weeks, you're going to see an icon appear on your dashboard page right here that will link you directly to the Community Hub. And so you can click there, you'll end up on the page we were at just a minute ago and that we're going to in just a minute. The other place we're going to put it is if you were in the program resources and I scroll down, you're going to see a tile right here next to the eToolkit that will be for the Community Hub. Again, both of those will be a link to the same place. They will link you over to this page. Now, on the Community Hub, you have two major resources. One, they are creating communities of teachers that are using IM. You notice the 612 community, the K5 communities. You can log into these. Teachers are going to post ideas and questions and all those kinds of things. So I'd recommend you take advantage of that. And then the other part of the resources, and that's where we want to spend our time today. Now, when I click into resources, you are going to see the resources are separated specifically by the grade level that you're teaching. So I've got my 6.8. The V3 simply means this is version 3 of the 6.8, version 1 of the 9.12, and then down below is the K5 beta. So if you want to take a look at K5 beta and you're not using it, you can actually preview it right here. But I want to go into 6.8 to start with. The resources are similar, but slightly different depending on the grade level you're in. If I go into grades 6 through 8, you notice in the resources I have a library. Now, I'm going to just mention there are some generic guideline pieces and then there are specific grade level resources. In the generic guideline, and these are the ones I would really recommend you starting with, there is the guidance for planning IM instruction materials in a remote or hybrid learning environment. This is the #1 document to pull up and take a look at. It's got the general guidelines attached. The second one is bridging distance and unfinished learning. The third one is using the curriculum adaptation packs. We'll talk about those. And then finally, using the cool downs in a remote situation. Now, one that I'm going to open up for you is this guidance document. And when you open that up, this is what you're going to see. And if I go in and take a look at this, you're going to see 3 specific segments to this. #1 are just principles for distance learning overall. You know, it's certain things you need to take into account regardless of what subject you're teaching, but you know, take a look at that. If I scroll in, then what we're going to see is, okay, but what do we actually do? So how do I plan for a unit? How do I plan for a week at a time? What should I specifically focus on? So you're going to have some guidance around that. When we go in, you're also going to see suggestions for what kinds of things you can do synchronously, asynchronously, and there are going to be some specific examples for you. So you notice they're going to give you some background on this to be able to look at it. And then if I go over a few other pages, I'm going to look at the instructional components by function and how they translate into synchronous, face-to-face, or asynchronous work, whether that's recorded or independent work. So it really lays this out for you in detail. And I'm going to go just a couple more pages. Then they kind of give you a day-by-day planning guide on how you might do some of this, preparing, how you spend your mentoring times or your meeting time, how you review and get feedback. So really, really a helpful document to support you. And that is the guidance and planning document. These other give you guidance around specific resources. So these 4 guidance for 6-8 are on the page as soon as you click into it. Now you're going to notice on the left-hand side, there are grade level specific folders. If I click on one of those, I'm going to get my detailed supply list that comes up, and I can pull that down. And then secondly, if I click it open, I have 5 different resources, and you're going to find these for every one of the grade levels. The curriculum adaptation packs are for that learning loss, and so what IM has done is gone in and looked at what are the precursor ideas students may have missed that are relevant to this unit. Now, one of the best ways to do that is to use your unit diagnostic, assess what students are missing, look at the adaptation pack, and what they've included in here are lessons from previous grade levels that address those precursor topics, along with the ideas on how to use those. Secondly, section guides for distance learning. Look at the different ways to use the materials. Cool down guidance on how to use that for specific lessons and how to do it in a remote situation. The unit math stories, if I click on this one right here, what you're going to see is there's a unit video for the teacher. This is teacher facing to give you an idea of how the lessons connect together. And the last one, these are video lesson summaries that are available. And you're going to see right now, it's just Unit 1. They're working on these. And then there are links to share these. Now, you can share these out 2 different ways. I'm going to click on this one, and you're going to see there's a Google Doc. If I click on the Google Doc, it comes right up. There's a link to each of those. So you could simply right-click on this, copy that link, and you could send that directly to your students. The other way you could do that is if you were in the McGraw-Hill platform and you were in Unit 1 and we went to Lesson 1, I could go right down to the bottom of the page, click on Teacher Added Resources, and say I want to add content. I'm going to do a web link. This is the lesson summary right here. I can paste that link and add that. And that now is a resource. I can assign it out. I can add it in my presentation. I can put it on the student page, so you know that's a great resource for them. And then I can click in, and there's the video. Now, I want to point out one thing. Some of the times what will happen when you click on a video, whether it's YouTube, the way the other website is set up, it doesn't allow the link to work like that. You just need to let the students know when they click on it. Right here it says having trouble trying a new tab. I click on it, I'm right into that video. And these are student facing. So just know that these are here for you. They're built into the resources. So when I was in that 6th grade piece, you're going to see the resources that are built in there. If I look at the curriculum adaptation packs and click on it, you'll see these are done through Unit 5. Depending on how the school year progresses, you're going to see the units added, and this is why we're linking you directly to the hub. If I click over to grade 7, you're going to see the same resources built in here, grade 8. And right now, if I click on this, there are not grade level resources, but there may be some that are added to that, so just keep your eyes open. Okay, I'm going to go back to my resources, and I just want to highlight for you very quickly, if you click into 912, those resources are just a little bit different. So I've got my guidance planning and my cool down guidance as my general resources, and then if I click into a specific grade level, I have the same 5 resources that are here. If I click on the general resources, I've got my detailed supply list for 912, very similar materials to the 6-8. And then finally, if I go back and I click into my K5, you're going to notice here my guidance for distance and unfinished learning. Then I've got my different grade levels. If I click into grade 2, you're going to see the unit adaptation packs, the planning guides. This is a little bit different. The unit adaptation professional learning videos and the resources for distance learning, along with to come some professional learning resources that will be for all of K5. A little bit different but from this main resource tab, I have access to all of those resources. And just remember, if you're in that McGraw-Hill course, there are 2 ways you can get to the hub. One, by clicking the link that will be here in a week or so, and then finally by going to program resources And under Learning Resources, there will be a tile right here for the Community Hub for you to have access to all those materials. And just remember, those are going to be updated as time goes by.